Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back to League One Live. 11 games of postponement and managerial sacking, dogfights at the bottom, top of the table clashes. It's fair to say Friday the 29th of December had it all. We're coming into January. The January transfer window opens. The second half of the season opens up, where things start getting that little bit more interesting. Those 3 points that were wrapped up early in the season mean that little bit more. But to join us, we can't do this alone. We are joined by my favourite co-host. It's Jake. Who are you? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Tom from 4-0 written all over it. Tom, 2 points from your last 3 games.
Do we have to start with us? Can we talk about you instead?
I've had enough about speaking about myself.
He's had a busy day. You have had a busy day.
Should we tell the story? I'll let you tell. Now, what happened to you in the season, Tom, when Scott Brown got sacked?
We were recording that League One podcast when Scott Brown got... But no, hang on. Had we just started?
So what had happened was I just got up from Charlton and you sent me...
no, that was it. And I put it in the start of the episode, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
So and then I was obviously speaking to you. And then today, I'd say Tom rang me back about 5-1 planning for the show.
Actually, yeah.
And what pops up on the start was Tom was speaking to me, wasn't listening. Club statement, Lee Johnson. And what did I say, Tom?
You went, oh my God, Lee Johnson's been sacked. Lee Johnson's gone. He's gone. He's been sacked. He just kept
Mother is gone.
Mother, he's gone. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
He's gone. What's happened? So we will talk about Lee Johnson, but a lot of busy weekend in Scarlet League One to talk about, mate.
Yes, loads. Can I just say before we get started, congratulations is in order. Well in on 12,500 subscribers today, Ben. Well done, you. Good to see. I think maybe the sacking might have just pushed you over the line on that one.
I did it just before, to be fair.
Oh, had you? Okay, that's
Thank you to Bolton Wanderers for being massive.
Yeah.
Love you, boys.
Love you too. Yeah, love you, boys. They're all fantastic, aren't they?
We will come to the comments as well before we get on. So please like, please subscribe as you are joining me as well. Hello, Jeff. We're the one and only Wanderers. Hello. Hello, Hugh. Joey Barton back to Fleetwood. Apple's out. Oof, Appleton's in a bit of trouble there. We'll come to that in a bit. Anthony, hello, mate. How are you? Charlie, we'll come to that as well. What happened to my favourite co-host? Unfortunately, Jack Ward Football Podcast was too expensive. And
what is that Deal saying that?
Yes, it is.
He's a right one, isn't he, that boy?
Well, I'll tell you what, next time he needs a lift and away game, Tom!
Yeah. Next time he wants to go to sold out Ipswich, he can do one, can't he?
Yeah, exactly. So we get on with it then.
Yes,
let's start off with the early kickoff. Wigan Athletic 2, Carlisle United 0. First win in 5 for the Latics. 6 of Wigan's last 7 victories have all come to nil. They love a 2-0 win. They've also got a 3-0 win over Fleetwood in that run. The last 5, they've drawn 1, lost 3 for Carlisle. Again, on a very, very bad run of form. No win in 9, 6 points adrift. 1 win in 12 coming away at Bolton Wanderers. A nasty Christmas period. A point away at Fleetwood, defeat to Cheltenham at home and defeats to Wigan away. Wigan get the 7th clean sheet of the season. Morrison getting a goal for his sins and Josh McGinnish on the spot. A 2nd goal for him. Only 2 starts for him this season. And again, coolly slotting home a penalty kick. Good win for Latics. Went back to a 4-2-3-1. And it seemed to have worked for them. Brilliant win at home. But for Carlisle, deep trouble in January. Can't come quick enough for Paul Simpson and his merry men.
Yeah, Carlisle are in all sorts of bother, aren't they? A win that was sort of sealed before half-time, really, wasn't it, Ben, from a Wigan point of view? Although Carlisle had a much stronger position in the game in that second 45. They're without a win since the 24th of October. It's January on Monday, Ben, without winning League One, that is. Having said that, other than the 3-0 defeat to Blackpool, they usually, it's another, we spoke about it with Northampton where they're kind of 1 or 2 goals the wrong end of a result. I feel like it's a similar thing with Carlisle at the minute. They can take a bit of heart from being in games and narrowly missing out on anything. Paul Simpson called it the story of their season. He wasn't surprised by the defeat to Wigan last night. He didn't think their side or his side gave themselves a chance of getting off bottom spot in League One. I really like Paul Simpson, Ben. I know you like him too. It's fine margins, isn't it, from Carlisle at either end, really, in a case of finishing chances off and less mistakes to work on for them. Massively impressed, can I just say, by the 4,000 fans that travel down to the DW, if it's still called that. Still called the DW? Yeah, it's still DW. Yeah. Effort that is. I hope they get themselves out of trouble. For Wigan, it's been 3 straight defeats over Christmas for them, so this will be a bit of a relief to get them back to winning ways. A clean sheet at home too, something they haven't managed for a month since you went there, Ben, back in November.
It's always Fleetwood. You can always link a League One stat back to Fleetwood, can't you?
Got to do it. 6 points clear of the drop now for Wigan with a trip to Oakwell to come on Monday, and they'll take a lot of positivity going into it.
Bristol Rovers fans will be absolutely be delighted to know that Jake Tong isn't with us today. He hasn't died. He's just not with us. He's getting a bit old, so we give him a rest. He seemed to have rattled a few Bristol Rovers fans the other day with his Lincoln City head on. 5 wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat at home, lost to Wycombe early on the season away. But since then, been brilliant at home, unbeaten in 8 for the Gas. Again, wins over Portsmouth over the Christmas period, beat Bolton away from home, and now Charlton. 3 very good victories for the Gas. And again, they've got a good team. Collins has got 8 assists now for him, got 2 yesterday as well. 9 points off the playoffs with a couple of games in hand. One is it was Port Vale and one is Fleetwood, both at the Mem. So they'll be fancying their chances to close in on at least the top 6/the top 8. But at Charlton, no win in 8. No win in 5, sorry. 1 win in 8. One away from home. That came on Halloween against Wigan Athletic. They've got a good team. It's very much like Fleetwood, the Charlton side, a better version of Fleetwood, where you've got big hitters, your Blackett Taylors, your Alfie Mays, your George Dobsons, your Taylor Doones, your Hectors, and then you've got, inexperienced players that are learning on the job. Campbell's, Anderson, Carnu, the Brewers is a decent young goalkeeper as well, Watson as well. So it's very mixed. Appleton, very stubborn, and the Charlton fans aren't quite liking him. When it goes well under Appleton, it goes well, but when it doesn't, slowly turning.
Yeah, what an excellent couple of weeks for Rovers. Take out that Blackpool defeat. You got 3 really impressive wins against some of the league's pace setters in ourselves and Bolton plus. And can we call them underachieving, Charlton side, given the quality that you've mentioned there with the players they have, Ben? They've conceded in each of those games, of course, which we'll need looking at if I think they're serious about those playoff ambitions. You don't want to be conceding as many as they have in each of the games, but take nothing away from a fabulous couple of weeks for them. Yeah, Appleton said it's not hard to defend the performance of his players, which I think will just annoy the already irritated fan base even more, if I'm quite honest. They're looking a fair old way away from the side that I saw, from the Charlton side that I saw, that I was quite impressed by actually at Fratton Park not too long ago. Do you think we could be looking at Appleton as the next managerial casualty, Ben? I know we've had one today. I saw there was a video from Josh, who's a Charlton YouTuber. Did you see the Leyton Orient away end? Michael Appleton, he ain't got a clue, or whatever it was. That's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
It's toxic. And Charlton is a club like that. When it goes well at Charlton, it goes well, and when it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well, and they let you know. And I think it's a frustration of the last kind of 5 years for that football club, ownership issues, and it got sorted out in the summer. I thought sacking Dean Holden wasn't the right decision. He got him playing good football last year, finished 10th, with a lot of behind the scenes issues. This season they've had a lot of injuries as well, so I think Dean Holden shouldn't have been sacked, and I'd have Dean Holden as Fleetwood manager. I really would, and considering the names I'm hearing, I think Dean Holden would be
your mate, any Ben? Dean Holden?
Apparently so, yeah. Thanks for the follow on Twitter, Dean. But I'm not just saying that just because of that. I think that he, has worked with young players before, and Charlton are a club that want to bring these young players through. So it'd be very interesting. I keep saying it, Matty Taylor, to score 14 in 24 games. Lowest expected goals will come to him in a bit. But Matty Taylor, your football is was sang very loudly by the Shrewsbury faithful yesterday. We'll come to Burton Albion against Shrewsbury because
nice little segue, like it.
I didn't even realise I did that. I'm the best in the world at what I do, aren't I? Thanks, Tom. You're good at this. Better than the other one, anyway. Burton Albion 1, Shrewsbury 0. Burton with back-to-back wins, 7 points from their last 3. And, before that, they'd only taken 7 points from the previous 9. And, well, if you want to actually count it, 1 point from your previous 6. They won back-to-back games, didn't they, before, with a Bristol Rovers victory in there as well. Good win, another clean sheet. Labala with the goal, 4th goal of the season. But for Shrewsbury, they've lost the last 4, scored 1 in that time. Before that, they won 2, drew 1, and, which is a decent run. They can keep clean sheets. I think they kept 6 or 7 clean sheets this season. They can find a way to win games, but to score 14 goals, Forest Green scored 38 last season. And they've got, they're on course for about 26 goals, Shrewsbury. And for me, they still concede goals, Shrewsbury. They've got the worst goal difference in the league, worst expected goals for, worst, one of the worst expected goals against as well. They look solid in some areas, but I just don't see how this is consistent enough to keep them up. That, Shrewsbury are where they should be in the table, but performances aren't there. But for Burton, great result.
Yeah, you're saying Shrewsbury are solid in patches. Burton, I thought, had another solid defensive performance from them. A big platform as well, Ben, for the incoming manager, of course, to put their stamp on whoever that may end up being. Brilliant effort from them in the last 3 matches against really difficult opponents. It must be so good if you're a Brewers fan to see your team and your players fighting for each other in difficult circumstances with no real sort of galvanising head at the top. Although I think the interim guy's doing really well, isn't he? If they can keep that up for Bolton, who we've seen beaten before this season, of course, but a really, really tough ask nonetheless. I don't think you could probably get a tougher ask at this moment in time than to have to play Bolton as your next game. A manager and some additions in January will do Burton really good, and potentially the departure of Cole Stockton. Did you want to chat a little bit about that, perhaps?
Yeah, it is very interesting that they are a bit of light on the ground in terms of forwards as well. Never really got on with Dina Manria, did he? And I know he's been linked with other League One football clubs, even League Two footballers. Only really hit it at Morecambe now as well. That's something very interesting. And you get footballers that kind of hit it at one football club but can't go anywhere else.
I would say as well, worrying for Shrewsbury. They haven't looked like scoring for a little while now. They didn't look like it against us before Christmas, as you said just then. 1 goal in the last 4 games. I mean, there's been a lot of Shrewsbury fans, obviously, rightfully. You're talking about Matty Taylor in terms of being your next managerial casualties. Matty Taylor will point to all their injuries, of course, and they'll be thankful for January being around the corner, as so many clubs are. But I don't think this is going to wash for much longer. It is all a bit of a mess at Shrewsbury at this moment in time, and I'm going to back you up finally on Matty Taylor being the next managerial casualty. I think he's on borrowed time, I reckon.
I've only been telling you that since the summer.
I know it's been a little while, but it'll be well. I mean, maybe that's an example of Shrewsbury not wanting to pull the trigger. If you've seen it, you're a Fleetwood fan that's got obviously brilliant knowledge of League One, and they haven't pulled the trigger. You kind of wonder what needs to happen for them to do so.
I think I've said this a while. Shrewsbury need this run of form where they go 5 or 6 without a win, lose every game, but then they'll get rid, because what the issue is, they're playing crap football. And under Brown last season, this is exactly what happened with Fleetwood, where you thought, right, Brown's going to finally get questioned, and he pluck a 1-1 draw away Charlton away, or beat Charlton away actually last season, or go to Hillsborough in the cup and get a replay, beat them at home. And I kind of think, well, Shrewsbury probably need to lose another 3 or 4, don't score, play awful football, get it a bit toxic, then he'll go, and then you get someone else in to change the style up a bit. So I think she's kind of a bit of pain. Again, thank you for the donation, Alex. And there's 120 people in the live stream, so if you could 64% of the viewers, by the way, in the live streams aren't subscribed yet. So
that is a disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace.
It's free to do so. And where else are you going to get a freebie? Oh, Fleetwood tickets. They're giving that for free.
They're paying people to come in, are they?
Yeah. Hot dog. There we are. Cheltenham 2, Reading 2. Cheltenham again 2-0 up, looking good. And a little bit of a stat for you. Cheltenham hadn't scored in their first 12 games of the season. Since they scored against Derby, they scored in every game. 12
Wow.
consecutive games with a goal, 19 points under Darryl Clark, a really good first 44 minutes. The Reading end again went into raptures just before half-time, before a second goal was scored. But overall, I think both sides would have taken a point before. Reading are getting better. 1 loss in 8. The fighting spirit is there to be seen. And same with Cheltenham. These are two sides that have got better since the end of October. Ruben Sellers was given time, and deservedly so. Back that up. Unbeaten in 5 now. A great point for Reading. Cheltenham will be disappointed because if they'd have won that, they could have really, taken pressure off themselves.
4 goals in 17 minutes, Ben, in this one, which
mental.
Yeah, which is it's a lot in it. And Cheltenham Cheltenham fans probably feeling like they probably could have and should have got more. That the reason why he's paying 18 quid is because he's still blagging his way on child tickets. So that's the reason for that. They got try that again. Got to give credit for the fight back from Reading, spearheaded by.
Just quickly, are you in seating or standing?
Oh, absolutely not. He's in the terrace with me.
Okay, so I've got a mate who's a steward at Fleetwood. So bring your ID, mate. Just bring your ID.
Oh, good man. Yeah. No, he'll be fine. He will be fine. But
he's getting ID'd. He's
getting ID'd, is he? All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Roll it in the ground.
There we go. Good man. They are much improved side. I don't know where I was there. That's completely thrown me off. Lewis Wing, spearheaded by those assists for him. They're much improved side of late. Particularly their form on the road, unbeaten in, what is it now, 3 on the road, last 3 away games for the Royals, Ben. And the fact that these two sides have picked up form recently has really tightened that League One relegation battle, hasn't it, as we head into the new year?
I don't want to talk about relegation battles. I'm sick of hearing about relegation
battles.
He's
had a long day, everyone. He's had a long day. So.
Exeter 0, Wycombe 0.
Wycombe?
Wycombe.
Exeter 0, Wycombe 0.
Oh no! So I've got Wycombe on my other a long day. Exeter 0, Portsmouth 0. There we are. I thought Wycombe, Portsmouth top of the league. 2 points from now. I thought Wycombe haven't got 2 points all season, have they? Well, when they played Fleetwood. Anyway, Exeter 1 loss in 5 at home, which is bit better, a bit more of a positive. Back-to-back clean sheets, another point for them. It's because they played Wycombe the other day and beaten 1-0. So there you go. There's my other stat. For Portsmouth, 2 points from Fleetwood, Bristol Rovers and Exeter. With Stevenage coming up, you've got a visit of Leyton O. You've got to go to Cheltenham. About 8 days ago, Tom, you were on for a record points tally in League One of 105 points. Now, you're squeezing into second on 95 points.
That is your fault. That is completely your fault. It's completely your fault. If you hadn't tweeted that and everyone go, oh my God, we're going to break the tally, then we would have been fine. Very little to talk about here, in honesty, Ben. I want to give a lot of credit to Exeter. I said it in my video yesterday. They managed the result that they got and probably deserved. It's obviously been a bad week for Pompey, in a week where we've learned, if we didn't know already, that you have to earn the right in League One. You have to earn the right.
You love that word, don't you?
Well, you do.
Earn the right.
Well, you do, don't you? I sound like Danny Cowley, but you do have to earn the right. And as Dill said, it's Cliffmas is here, I think is what he said, which I'm not sure if I completely agree, but we do look exhausted. You can't try and I don't like the argument of we look exhausted. A, they're professional football players. B, you can't blame the schedule. Everyone else has to deal with it. So I don't really see where we stand there. Myself and others, crikey, need to pull my headphones out then. Myself and others, should we chat about Danny Cowley and Fleetwood later on? Are we saving that for later? We're going to get through the games first, all right? Because
he's not coming, I can tell you that now.
Well, we'll see. Myself and others, I'm sure, trying to exercise just a little bit of perspective with it. Do you reckon, I'll ask you, Ben, what percentage of the football club, percentage of the fans of Pompey fans, would have taken 50 points from a return of 24 games and be
100%. You'd see it as nearly 100 points, wouldn't you? Yeah, like for me, I think you'd take, if I said to you, you'd be second with 43, 44 points, you'd have taken that. However, things change during the season, and because of how good you've been, expectation rises. And, I don't think you've been spectacular in a lot of games. And Jake's comment about Derby annoyed me the other day because I kind of think, well, Portsmouth kind of they've done it all over. But, I think with the fact that, and I said this a lot, all it takes is for 3 games for Portsmouth fans need to, calm down a little bit, stay grounded. because all it takes is not even losing. You've lost one game in the last minute where you should have got a point. You've drawn a scrappy game against Fleetwood where, I think both teams deserved a point. And then yesterday, a point again where you don't play at your best. Takes a week in football, less than a week, 6 days. Derby have gone and won, pretty much every game, haven't they? 3 out of 3 in that time. Bolton have gone and, piled the pressure back on you as well. We're winning 3 out of 3. Then all of a sudden, they've been on bad runs. That kind of run where Bolton lost 2 in a row, where they lost 2 in Bristol. Bristol Rovers, by the way.
Don't call them Bristol. I don't like.
I know. I'm not making that mistake again. As it's been made the ground up again. So this is how crazy it is in League One. If they don't win those games, I don't think you're as panicky as you are, because Bolton and Derby have won those games. For me, focus on yourself. If you go and get 49, 50 points from 24 games again, you will go up. Simple as that.
It's the worry is the performances, isn't it? It's the lead narrowing is worrying Pompey fans. And you said it there, it's the high standards we've set ourselves. And every single, I said this after the Rovers game, every single setback, whether it's a loss or a draw, is going to have a massive reaction to it. So that's what's worrying Pompey fans at the minute. I feel like it's difficult because it's all well and good being did I tell you this, by the way? I got called a happy clapper after Rovers. I've never had that before. Yeah. No, it was a Twitter comment on my tweet. And it's just a happy clapper. You can call the club out for being rubbish when they're rubbish. I said, if you go and watch the video, I tell you how it is. I say 2 points from 9 is not good enough, but apparently I'm a happy clapper. Anyway, there were some lovely comments on there as well. So I'm not just singling out one bloke who called me a happy clapper. But yeah, it's worrying. There's not a lot to.
If you're happy and clap your hands.
That's what I am.
I have to tell you, kept me back in hospital in January.
The good news, ladies and gents, is we now get to speak about Fleetwood against Bolton, which is next up on the list. And Nappers is going to cocoon himself and hope that the window brings him some magic.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think we need more than magic. Can Jesus rose again at Easter, and we need it in January. It's a mess, Fleetwood, but Bolton take nothing away. They were probably 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Not in terms of performance. I mean, for their standards, I thought Thomason was unbelievable yesterday. 99 appearances in a Bolton shirt. And some fans, the expectations they have on him, since the summer, they signed a new deal till 2026, interest from Bristol City for, over £1 million. They use the wingers very well, and our weakness point of our team is our wing backs, our full backs. I thought John Daddy Barthelson did a very good job up front. Dion Charles notched his 6th away goal of the season as well, 13 for him. Only scored 17 last season in League One, and I use the word only. And 17 goals, it shows you that they've set themselves look a lot better going forward than they did last season. And although the defence hasn't been quite as good as last season, they still kept 10 clean sheets, kept 22 last season. So again, 60 goals conceded in 69 League One games from a season and a half is unbelievable. So Ian Evatt deserves humongous credit for that. For Fleetwood, 3rd manager in 23 league games. Now, unfortunately, player power is one. So, I look at players, the experienced players at this football club, and I'll go through it now with you. Now, I made a list before of players I would work around at Fleetwood Town Football Club. The players I had left: Josh Earl, Ben Hennigan, Boston Lowell, Brendan Wiradu, Cole Johnston, Ryan Broom, Danny Mayer, Callum Dolan, Junior Turner, Jaden Stockley, Promise Omasheri, and Phoenix Patterson. Of which Phoenix Patterson, I reckon, will be going in this window or the next.
Anywhere in particular?
No, get lost. Junior Turner, again, is too good for Fleetwood. Callum Dolan has just come back from a loan from Torquay. Danny Mayer is out injured. Ryan Broom is out injured. Cole Johnson come from our academy. Brendan Wiradu, again, will be tempted elsewhere as well. Ian Evatt had a little bit of a word with him yesterday. Grabbed him, and there was a 30-second chat there, I wonder. What? No, Brendan Wiradu and Ian Evatt.
I thought it was you and Ian Evatt.
I won't be going anywhere near Ian Evatt after a defeat, thank you. Good guy, but no thank you. Boston Lowell is on loan. Ben Hennigan signed 3 months ago. The only signing under Lee Johnson, and Josh Earl, who is out of contract at the end of the season, but we got an offer to trigger. Lee Johnson is an interesting one because I'm not gutted. I'm disappointed at the club for letting player power work. He came in a week
after.
When you
say player power, do you know who?
I'd
Do you
say
not want to
I'd be
say
having a
that?
look at the most experienced players at the football club who he's not been playing as much. I'd have a look at, Robertson. Obviously he's a great player when I've seen him play at times under Brown, but he was Brownie's boy. Josh Vela is Brownie's boy because he was second signing. Should be called a series as Brown's boys, by the way. Just saying. Great idea. You're looking at Jay Lynch, number one goalkeeper, Sean Rooney. He signed his heroes. Boston Llewellyn's a Celtic fan. Adam Montgomery's a Celtic fan. So all of a sudden, then someone else comes in and upsets the core of it. It's rotten, and unfortunately, Johnson lost his job. It's a lot needs to change at football in Fleetwood, and I didn't think it'd be the manager. I really didn't. January is 48 hours away, and we've sacked a manager. You're 5 points adrift. We've got no manager, and we're about to appoint a manager that hasn't managed a league game before. And it's like,
just for those that don't know, you have a little bit of an inkling as to who this incoming
I
manager might
think
be, don't you?
I think from what I've seen online, I think it's going to be Charlie Adam. Now, Charlie Adam is a local lad, a local guy around here. And actually, funny enough,
It was going to be him last time, wasn't it?
I got the train to uni, obviously study in Preston, and he lives probably 2 stops away from where I get on. And he got on my train about 4 weeks ago and sat probably about 4 rows in front of me to the far side. And I thought, oh, Charlie Adams on it, because he's currently loans manager at Burnley. So it would be very interesting. I do think Fleetwood just need a bit of fight, a bit of spirit. We've tried everything at this football club. There's going to be 6 or 7 players needing to come in. But when you've got players that don't want to play for a manager and don't respect a manager, you're not going to get anywhere. And for as much as Lee Johnson is an experienced manager, to get sacked twice in a season is some going, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you said it in your video earlier on. You famously said on T-Lop, if you get through 3 managers in a season, should you really have any kind of divine right to stay in the division?
I'd have Dean Holden, by the way, every day of the week.
So, is it worth going through some names of who we would say are potentials, or are
I
you
think
pretty
it is,
set on this geezer? Could I fire some your way then? Should we have a bit of fun?
Yeah, so yeah, I'll say yes or no.
Right. So Danny Cowley.
Yes, but he won't come anywhere near Fleetwood.
Mark Bonner.
No.
Because
did well for Cambridge, and I'm not a big fan of those that have just come out of a job. For me, when you get out, well, Johnson came out of a job 2 weeks ago after Hibernian came straight into Fleetwood. What it's like is like getting out of a relationship and getting straight back on Tinder a week later. It's like you wouldn't do it, would you? It's like you're still hurting, and it's like you need to take time and rest your morals.
This is a little bit too specific, Ben, for me, for me to think it's a made-up situation. Well, the only reason why I throw Mark Bonner in there is, and don't take this the wrong way, if you were to go down with someone like him at the helm, he'd have the credentials to get you back up again. That would be my thinking.
100%. Any more names that you want to give me?
What about Dino?
Mamria. Dino's an interesting one. His football isn't brilliant, I'll be honest with you, but he's got a record of improving teams. Stevenage, Oldham, Burton. Burton were in a dogfight last season. Short-term deal? Yes.
Can I just say to Steve, I don't think at any point I've said that Derby were a poor side, and I actually said that Derby would win the league at the start of the season in my predictions. So
you know something?
At no point have I said they're poor.
I cannot believe I am saying this, but yes.
Is he the guy that you tweeted about earlier on?
No, I'd have him back. I'd have Josie. I'd have Joey Barton back. Just thought, because as a guy, right, I know it'd end in tears. We need someone like him just to, get into, because he wouldn't stand it. Like Lee Johnson, I think, is a bit of an undercut and softer speaking. Barton knows a club, maybe. Carl Robinson, but I can't see it.
That was going to be the next one I threw at you.
Keith Curl will get interviewed, but he won't be the job.
What about, and Paul said it there, if you went for someone that's inexperienced, I don't know. Charlie Adams not particularly experienced, is he? He's certainly never managed at Fleetwood kind of level, has he? So, or League One kind of level. So if you were to go, I mean, speaking as a fan of a club that went for a rookie manager and it's paid off absolute dividends, albeit not for the last week or so, it has to be a household League One name, doesn't it? Surely.
100%. And
But it's not going to be.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be Charlie Adam.
Okay. What about your mate Dean? We said we'd come back to it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
tell us
I
why
would.
he'd be the fit.
He develops youth players. He can work with young players. He can work on a shoestring budget. He watches a lot of games in League One. He was at the Fleetwood Tranmere game. He watches a lot of football. He likes how he's playing aggressive football. And I think that
Close to
the
home.
culture, Manchester based as well. I think it would fit. But if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Lee Johnson being sacked, go and watch my latest video. And thank you for the support so far on that as well. Who's next? Is it Lincoln next? Is it Lincoln 1?
Are we not talking Leyton or Wycombe? Should we just gloss
Oh,
over
is it
that
Leyton
one?
O next? Sorry, my mistake. Making a few tonight. Oh, no, we're not all perfect. Leyton O played. Who did he play?
Wycombe.
There we are.
Hey!
0-0. Good point for both. Wycombe now winning 12, 6 draws, 6 defeats. Orient 7 points from the last 4. 7th clean sheet of the season. Good point for Orient. They seem to be back on trend now. For Wycombe, slowly getting dragged back in.
Yeah, not a classic by any stretch, is it? Orient probably had
And you would
the.
get a bite.
What was that, by the way? What was he
Joey
referring?
Barton. I'd have him back. Yeah. Imagine the uproar if he come back, by the way. But anyway, go on, carry on.
Well, I think not just the uproar of Fleetwood. I think probably the worldwide footballing community wouldn't be particularly happy given the last couple of weeks on Twitter or X or whatever it is. Anyway, Leyton Orient Wycombe. Back to the important stuff. Not a classic by any stretch. Orient probably had the better of the game and the chances. There is another manageria. Try that again. See, not all perfect. Another manager. Looks like he's under a lot of pressure, doesn't he? Bloomfield looked really deflated in that post-match that I watched earlier on. No shots on target, Ben. Very little goal threat from a Wycombe point of view. And their supporters, I would imagine, are all kind of thinking, well, where on earth are these? Oh, what's going on here?
Carry on, I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, he's had a message, everybody. He's had a message live on the stream. Their supporters, I would imagine, are probably all thinking, where's this next victory going to come from? They've been waiting for one in League One since...
Say again, sorry.
Wycombe have been waiting for a win in League One since...
Yeah, since they beat Fleetwood in September. They've drawn 6, lost 6, beat Fleetwood 4-1 at Highbury Stadium. Yes, I know.
There's another segue. Go on. What can you tell me live, or do you have to tell me after the show?
I think it's Charlie Adam.
Right. Like...
And I think it'll be done before Monday as well.
Oh, so it's
because
being done tomorrow?
Yes. I think, yes, he would, Roy. Yes, he would love it. Yes. Fleetwood's statement, sorry to interrupt this, they never said who was in temporary charge. It was, there'll be an update as soon as possible. And it's like, well, what's happening? So, look, we're there for the good times and the bad, aren't we? And, and we've got to get behind the new man now. But again, Wycombe, go on, carry on.
No, that was it. I was only going to say there was another segue to Fleetwood back on the 7th of October. It is January on Monday. Go on.
I'd say Jake would still be finding the little positives, wouldn't he? I know he's not a ball of joy about Lincoln, but he's the most proudest Lincoln fan ever.
He's very house proud.
He could lose like 8-0 and he'd be like, so proud of my boys. We dug in, we had a shot on target.
The two Ethans. The two Ethans are amazing. I just love the two Ethans so much. Love them.
We haven't had a striker.
Where they're all out. Tyler Walker's out. Disaster. Reese the Wind.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Lincoln 1, Northampton 2. Northampton, by the way, bit of a stat on them. They've been unbelievable of late, haven't they? And when you look at it, I think it's something like 19 points from the last 9 games. And that's like more points than they had in the previous. I think they had 14 from the first 50, 14 from the first 15, didn't they? So unbelievable turnaround there. But for Lincoln, 2 reds in 2, 4 wins, 4 draws, 4 defeats for a side chasing in the playoffs. Not good at all. Lost the last 3 games, no winning 5. But for Northampton, Lenny getting 2 assists, Bowie with his 5th goal of the season, 5 goals, 1 assist in his last 8. What a strike it was indeed.
Yeah, I think it's probably the goal of the night, isn't it? It is really, really good. I should say as well, I don't know whether the keeper can do better for the first one, but Northampton take absolutely nothing away from the power on the header. The second it's a fabulous goal. Defensive turnover, he's looking at from an Imp's point of view. It is probably the finish of the night. Hakeem Adelicum misses a big chance. He overheads it back in for Lincoln, get that get them back in the game. Paulie O'Connor's dismissal, Ben, from what I saw, looks like a leading with an elbow going up for a header. I believe that's probably what the ref's seen. That stifled any sort of late comeback. And it's, one of the biggest moments of the night. Did you see the reaction from a certain Northampton town boss towards the away end? I mean, that is just the passion we're all here for, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, the job that, Brady's done at Northampton is unbelievable. And Northampton are a good side. Pinnock, Simpson, Selby, Leonard, Bowies, of these worlds as well. And, Guthrie, Willis, McGowan, Thompson in goal. It's a really good squad. And they're going to be nowhere near that bottom half. And what are they on, 30-odd points already? They're probably only going to need another 4 wins. And it just shows you what an 8-game period can do to your season. If you go and win 5 of them or win 6 of them, wins over Burton and Fleetwood, and they won 4 out of 5 and lost to Portsmouth. Like, that's quite an unbelievable record. I know they were unlucky they didn't play well on Boxing Day. Beat Oxford. Everyone's beating Oxford at the minute, Wardy, so don't worry about that. And then, just the way they turn it around, they're scoring a lot of goals as well. It's really good to see. Where are we going next, Thomas?
We're going to Oxford Derby, aren't we?
Derby County then, a little bit of a stat for you. First 14 games, won 6, drew 3, lost 5, 1.5 points per game, scored 21 in that time. In the last 9, and they conceded 15. In the last 9, won 8, drawn 1. The one that they drew, if I was a Derby fan, I'd be thinking more about the one I've drawn instead of the 8 I've lost. And I'm only saying this, Derby fans, don't come at me, because it's a debatable penalty. He's in the last minute of the game, and you played so well and deserved to win. You'd be thinking 9 wins in a row. This is what Paul Warren does. Goes on these 15 games unbeaten runs.
It wasn't ever a penalty as well. So
exactly. So, but to go and get 25 points, which is a quarter of the way, join to 100-point haul to get promoted. Like I say, these 8 and 9 game unbeaten runs in that time. So 5 less games, by the way, scored the same amount of goals they did in the first 14, 21. Only conceded 5 in that run, and 2 were against Oxford, and one's a penalty and one's a free kick, a set pieces. The penalty against Wycombe, and they conceded, against Lincoln as well. It's been an unbelievable run for them. So the first in the last 9, they've had 38 shots on target as well. So there's been a lot more kind of going forward, but they've found a way to win games as well. For Oxford, 2-0 up. Brannigan with a brilliant free kick. They'll be disappointed, but a really good game between 2 good sides. Des will be unhappy, I think, with the start when, when you're looking at it, losses to Peterborough in there, losses to Derby in there, a draw away at Reading, lost to Cheltenham, and they did manage to beat Burton. They did manage to win on Boxing Day as well in the last minute. It's a bit worrying, really. It really is.
I should say there's 137 people that join us. There's only 46 likes. We can get that up to 100 by the end of the stream. We absolutely can. Ben deserves it. He's had a busy day and he's just hit 12.5k. And he's a bit worried about who's the incoming manager at Fleetwood. So if you want to spread some festive joy, leave a like on the stream. Yeah, what a really good game. No doubt about it. It's the best second half Derby display, I think, in a very long time. There's passion, there was energy, there was fight back, there was character. There's everything you'd associate, Ben, with a team that's going places. And I think that's exactly what's happening at Derby under Paul Warne. And, what a brilliant purple patch they're having. You mentioned the run there. It's just at the right time as well. The turn of the year, you're on that sort of downward slope down back towards the end of the season now. You're at the peak of January almost, and you're getting there. They did dominate the entire game of proceedings. Night to remember for the Rams, certainly one to forget for Oxford. Similar to Pompey, really, in a sense that their playing squad looks really tired. They've got a real issue with injuries at the moment. Billy Bowden, Max Waltman, Stanley Mills, Josh Murphy, Tyler Goodrum, Kyle Edwards, Marcus Brown, Greg Lee, Stephen Negru, and Sam Long all out. So long old list. Make no mistake, Derby dropping the 2-goal lead by being outplayed. Oxford dropping the 2-goal lead by being outplayed by Derby. They're fully I've absolutely messed that one right up, haven't I? Fully deserving of all 3 goals and all 3 points. And I think, Ben, Derby a proper automatic promotion candidate. And I think one of your co-hosts doesn't think that Paul Warne's the right man for the job, does he? So
disagree. I think that you needed to give him time. I think what's good about it, Collins is coming into his own. Mendes Lang has been in the top 5 best players in League One since the Stevenage game. And, unplayable on his day, as Paul Warren said. Barkhusen getting another assist yesterday. Horahan getting another assist yesterday. Bird, when he's at it, he's good. Cashing with a goal and assist as well for him. Got a decent goalkeeper. Nyambi's a decent right back as well. Got options off the bench. And when they're not at the best, I don't think they're at the best against Lincoln or Port Vale away. But they put on some good shows against good sides as well this season. They beat Barnsley at home, went away at Blackpool and went away at Peterborough and won. Peterborough only lost 1 home game this season, and that's 2 derbies. So say what you want, they're going away to big sides and getting results now. And they'll be looking at their next few games. That I think they've got Peterborough at home coming up actually, on New Year's Day, and then you've got a trip to Fleetwood and they've got Burton as well. So they'll be fancying their chances. But for Oxford, I'm looking at Harris. I know he's had an injury. He's not scored since Derby away, which was 18 games ago for him. So again, I need more goals from him. Rodriguez, I think, has been good in parts as well. Injuries galore for them, but Oxford, they'll be absolutely devastated. It's one of those where I feel that could be the turning point in both of their seasons. Peterborough 2, Barnsley 2. Now for this one, Barnsley were 4 points behind the Posh, right? And they had a game in hand before the game. Still are, right? So Peterborough, 1 defeat in 18, won 10, drawn 7, lost 1 away at Wigan. Unbeaten in 9, I think it is now. Johnson Clark-Harris back in the team, back with a brace. 2 great typical strikers' goals, and linked with Charlton, linked with Portsmouth at time, linked at Fleetwood as well. What are you doing here, son? I could say. We're just getting rid of 1 from Peterborough, hopefully 2 as well. Lost 1 home for them all season. Kabanga Shamanga, please. But Barnsley went in front. First goal, Billy what are you doing? Playing out from back. Bear in mind, this is the press that Barnsley do. It was so high intensity-wise. Won back, I think, by McAtee, and then Hurricane puts away. In his last 5 games, Tom, 3 goals, 3 assists. Devante Cole scored his 13th goal of the season.
Goal for Cole.
Absolutely. And only 1 in his previous 7 as well. So he's dried up a little bit, but Peterborough fight back. Johnson Clark-Harris with a brace. Good point for them. Keeps Peterborough just in front of Barnsley. But Barnsley going on a run. Unbelievable away from home. One of the best away records in Sky Bet League One, in the top 3 as well. They're up there for a reason. And 2 good sides, 4 goals, an absolute thriller at London Road.
I think it is actually the best away record, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's them, Bolton and Portsmouth, I think, have got 25 points away from home.
Oh, Pompey quite good away from home, are they?
You don't like mentioning that, do you?
I've been told I mentioned it once or twice, yeah.
You know what's scary, by the mind, right? You've got more points away from home than we do from April onwards, and that includes 7 or 8 games from last season as well. And that includes our home games, our away games, everything.
It is actually, as it goes, it is actually Pompey on goal difference. But yeah, you're right. Pompey, Derby, Barnsley all tied on 25 points away from home. Yeah, really exciting one. Can I just say yours truly called that on the T-Lot predictions, by the way, a 2-2. So I don't know. We haven't had a points update today, have we, Ben, in the group chat? So I don't know how we've all got on.
I've done okay. I got the first 2 right. I know that.
Oh, I didn't actually chop mine up. I just know that I said Peterborough 2, Barnsley 2. Anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Back-to-back 2 all draws, isn't it, for Peterborough at their place, which pokes them down a notch or 2 in the League One table. We'll look at the table shortly, I'm sure. You would say, though, wouldn't you? They'll be much happier with a point at home to Barnsley than they would have been with a point at home to Reading. I'm sure that's very much the case. So, yeah, they keep marching on. And, yeah, as you said, that televised game on New Year's Day against Derby is going to be quite the corker, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Port Vale now, again, beat Blackpool 3-0. Neil Critchley, rumoured to have an interview at Plymouth this week, and already walked out on them once. If he did it this time, I don't think Blackpool fans will be too dissatisfied. I've got a thing on Neil Critchley, and I've always said it, and Blackpool fans could agree. This is not with my Fleetwood head on. Neil Critchley is a very good coach at League One level. You could say he's got all the qualifications. For me, I could go and be, a swimmer. I could go and get all my swimming badges. That doesn't make you a good manager. Now, one thing I'll say on Neil Critchley, as a coach, brilliant. But what he's not got is a good number 2. Every time Neil Critchley has been at Blackpool, first time he came in, they were shaky. They brought Colin Calderwood in. After that, they were on an unbelievable run. right? Colin Calderwood left the football club. They won promotion, right? They went a bit shaky again. They brought Stuart McCall in, right? Both of these two have been managers, stern talkers, good, right? And they can put that little bit of niceness and a bit of nastiness left. I think it's guaranteed they've got as assistant now, and it just doesn't quite work. So I kind of think that Neil Critchley, if he's going to be there long term, he signed a new deal, he needs a good number 2. But away from home, they're not good enough. They've lost 6, lost the last 3. And when you're losing, 3 away games at Burton, Cambridge and Port Vale, if you want to win promotion, that's not good enough in my eyes. You can be good at home and you'll be fancy on the iron, score lots of goals, but away from home, I need you to be a bit nastily. Beasley was probably the standout yesterday. Jordan Rose looks to be going back. Will that be the last game for Blackpool? I do wonder as well. But for Port Vale, brilliant result for them. Wilson with an absolute stunner. Smith with a goal. Lomax making his full debut as well. Chislett with another 2 assists. 5 goals, 5 assists for him this season. 10 points from the last 4. Port Vale starting again. 4 games, change of season. All of a sudden there, you're 20% safe.
I can completely get on board with what you're saying about managers, actually, and having a good number 2. Because if you look at it from both ends of the spectrum, right, you could look at the rookie end. You got John Messina and John Harley. John Maharley's a fantastic assistant to John Messina. They work incredibly well together. And then the most experienced end, you look at your Paul Warren, Richie Barker kind of combo as well. So that there's so many different areas of League One you could look and say
hang on as well.
There's 2 really. Go on.
Kenny Dougal been dropped out the team from absolutely nowhere as well.
Any idea why?
I think he's going to lead the football club in January. I think that there's a few that there's always been a bit of a and for me, when Jordan Gabriel comes back fully, I don't think 3-5-2 for Blackpool works. For me, if I was Critchley, I'd go Grimshaw. I know they've got Pennington out. Probably the best team for Blackpool will be something like Grimshaw, Husband, Pennington. Ekpateta, Gabriel. And you've got Norburn, Dougal, and then I'd have four like wingers that I'd have, Rhodes in kind of a Beasley up front or a Kyle Joseph up front, and then I'd be looking at CJ Hamilton and then Dembele on the other side, and you've got 2 wingers that can get the ball into the box and 2 physical strikers, and one can nip off the other. That's what they did when they went up. They had Jerry Yates, Gary Medine, nippy striker off a big striker. 3-5-2, I just don't think suits Blackpool at all.
There's quite a few good questions coming into the chat, which we'll probably save for the Q&A in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the Port Vale results, probably the outlier of the evening in the League One schedule. A really great credit to them, an excellent win. I was a bit worried, actually, Ben, one more point on Port Vale, that the evening might be shrouded by the bad news of the recalling of Ollie Arblaster. I don't know whether you've spoken about that on your League One lives yet, but back to Sheffield United, given what a game changer he's proven to be for them on many occasions. But Ethan Chislett had a superb night, assist provider on 2 occasions. And the Vale go marching on.
And Stevenage game got postponed. Electrical faults, and now it seems apparently the providers at fault. What's your thoughts there?
Well, I saw early on today that I think they might be in a little bit of trouble with this, because there was a statement from the local electricity provider that it was an issue at the customer's end, which would mean it's on Stevenage, much to the fact that Steve Hessen's coming out after the game and saying, look, there's nothing we can do about a power loss to the local area. Yet the tannoy's still going, the retail park's still lit up like a Christmas tree that's next door. So it all feels a little bit, and obviously not questioning the integrity of Stevenage Football Club, but yeah, the FA might have a little poke into that, Ben, and see. That's me speculating, one to keep an eye on. But yeah, not a lot to say about that game, Ben, because nothing happened.
Absolutely. There we are. And we're at 49 minutes, so get your questions in. Also go and subscribe to my good mate, Thomas. His link is in the description. 4-0 written all over it. Again, we'll be seeing each other in a couple of weeks' time.
Are we still having that Nando's?
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
You sound keen.
Yeah, I sound very keen. And we're going to come to the League One table. Now, as long as you bring Reese. As long as he's
Reese is coming, don't you worry, he'll be there, yeah.
League One table, that is the top of, we'll come to in a bit. Carlisle occupy bottom after no wins in 9. Managerless Fleetwood for now occupy 23rd, 5 points adrift. Improving Reading and Cheltenham, who played each other yesterday, into the 20 points. They're out the moody teenager point stage into the 20s, and it's all up from here. Exeter, a good couple of weeks for them, or a week for them. Wycombe slowly sliding down. Wycombe and Wigan look so far in front, but yet don't seem to be able to ever drag themselves too far away in terms of position-wise. Shrewsbury are probably the worst 17th side I have ever seen. That is just kind of a disaster waiting to happen for now. Burton, Albion and Cambridge seem so far in front of those, but again on the same points. Port Vale up to 29 after a good 2-week period. And Leyton O, as always, the top of the tree for the bottom half. 7 wins, 8 draws, 9 defeats is pretty much what you want when you've just been promoted from Sky Bet League 2.
Where are you currently looking to say that is relegation conversation and down?
I think for me in that mix, Carlisle, Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Reading, Exeter, Wycombe, Shrewsbury, Burton,
You're
Cambridge.
you're going as high as Cambridge.
Yeah, I think 9 points you can still be dragged in. You've seen what, for me, I do points per game after every game, try and work it out. Reading are on course to 46 minus the 442. 43 points won't keep you in League One. At the end of the season, Morecambe won 3 in a row last year. Cambridge won 5 in 8. You know, I would say 46 or 47. 51 points will 100% keep you up in the last few seasons in League One. So that'll be the definite mark where I think Leyton O, Port Vale and Cambridge will be at. But I think 46, 47 points will be enough. And you're asking Fleetwood to go and get 28 points from 23 games. It's possible. It really is. But us, and they need to win 8, draw 4. We've won 4 games all season. Just gone Dage there. Yeah, obviously we know.
Well, yeah. I agree with all that. Looking at that, it really makes me so disappointed that we went to Exeter and just couldn't create anything. Anyway, sorry, that's an issue that we have with ourselves and nothing else. But then you go to Burton and Shrewsbury and absolutely blow the waters out. So. Yeah.
Where do you see it going up to?
I mean,
who's in the relegation battle for you?
There's only 9 points that separate 13th and 21st. So it's a 3-game swing, really, isn't it? If you think about it, if you get a good run of 3 games and teams below you don't, then that could chop and change massively. I'll come back to what I said earlier on. The fact that Cheltenham and Reading, if you had the form on there, you'd see Cheltenham have 2 wins and 5, I believe it is. That's not relegation form, is it? That's sort of mid-table looking towards the push to the playoffs kind of form. So I wouldn't count out a late resurgence. Well, not a late resurgence because we're halfway in, aren't we? But Reading and Cheltenham, the vein of form they're in, that wouldn't surprise me. Exeter, 4 points from an available 6 in the last 2 games. That's not bad going at all either. So I hate to say it, and I don't want to say this because I did say Carlisle to finish rock bottom in my League One predictions at the start of the season. I think I was the only one of us T-Lot boys that actually said that, and we're only at halfway and so much can change. But 17 points, what is that? 6 adrift, having played a game more. It's not looking great, is it?
Not looking good, blood. Not looking good. We'll come to the top. I'll come to your comments. Keep the comments coming in. We will. Anton Fleetwood are going down. Thanks for that. 6. We don't want Park. Okay. Charlton would definitely in the playoffs. Derby heavily linked for Blackett Taylor. Barnsley are underrated. I rate them. Yeah, absolutely. One of the only teams we got a point from this season as well. Top half then. I'll tell you what, boys. I absolutely love doing these shows after a Fleetwood. I think you should bear in mind we didn't do a T-Lot this week because I threw my toys out the pram a little bit. I went, no.
You weren't happy.
No, I'm not talking about Fleetwood. And I was like, when Lee Johnson got started, I went, I just want to watch Scott Williams like a masterclass against Damon. I don't want to be talking about Fleetwood. I'm missing Luke Littler here, but anything. This is carrying on next season. Don't you worry about that. Charlton inside the playoffs, 29 points, 14 points away from top 6 and you're 12th. Does that show you the difference in class when you're looking at up? Jake's going to hate me. Lincoln have played 25 games. Look, with respect, Northampton, Lincoln, Charlton, Leyton O, Port Vale, Cambridge, Burton, Shrewsbury, Wigan, Wycombe, Exeter. And then you look at there's so much difference between a Bristol Rovers upwards there, isn't there? There's so much difference in quality.
Yeah, I think on the basis of the last 2 weeks, particularly from Bristol Rovers in terms of the Bolton win and the Pompey win and the Charlton win, I think absolutely. I mean, I I don't want to sound disrespectful to Northampton, but given what I saw when we went there, I'm pretty dazzled that they're 10th, but they're there for a reason, and they had a fabulous month. You look at the losses column, don't you, Ben, really, in this kind of situation, and Northampton are the only team in the top half in double figures in terms of losses, which I think might even be a little bit of an outlier. But if you look at the teams, I think Paul Warne said this in one of his either post-match or pre-match interviews a little while ago. There are so many teams that have lost, obviously, other than Pompey, but, we won't mention that because we mentioned that too many times, so we don't lose many games. But you look how many teams, I mean, pretty much every team other than Oxford in those playoff spots, and then look at Barnsley below them, and then Bristol Rovers on 7. They've all lost 4 or 5 games. Like it's either 5 or it's 4, and that demonstrates to me the close-knit nature. The flip side of that is they've all won a similar amount of games as well. So you're splitting hairs in League One. That's why we absolutely love it. And I'm so delighted to see how this second half of the season unfolds, because actually at this moment in time, there is very little to separate the top 8 to 10 sides. So
well, you say that. League One points per game. Carlisle,
you love a points per game, don't you?
I think it's a great outlier, especially halfway through a season.
Yeah.
Carlisle 32.58, Fleetwood 36, Cheltenham 40, Reading 46, -4, 42. Okay, next up. No, we don't want that one. Next up, Oxford United would finish just outside the playoffs on 82.41 on goal difference. Have that, Warney, son. I'd like them cherries. And Stevenage would just be in on goal difference. Oxford beat Stevenage 3. I think it was 3-0 at Stevenage as well. So that just shows you again. And Stevenage have had some low points. The Blackpool defeat, the defeat against Barnsley, the defeat that went to Oxford. But they've always bounced back quite well. Barnsley 84 points. Without being spectacular most seasons in terms of play, they've been quite consistent in terms of getting results. 12 wins, 6 draws, 5 defeats, 45 goals scored. I know they won at 7 on the opening day, but still scored 38 and 22 is 1.6 per game, isn't it? Peterborough 88.16. Again, they've dropped a little bit down, just a couple of results, changes that flow. Derby 92. And I always say 2 points a game gets you promoted in League One. It doesn't anymore, does it? It really doesn't. Bolton would be top on 96, followed by Portsmouth 95.83. When you're looking at that, there's 4 points between the top 3, and then there's about 5 points between 4th and 7th, which is so close. And I think you're going to have that this season between the top 4 and then the next 4, and then you're going to have between 9th and 15th so close to each other. I kind of see it changing a lot. Bristol Rovers 2 games in hand. They win them, go get 4 points, 38 points, 5 points off. It's close again.
Well, I mean, Andrew said it there, didn't he? It's a really, really top 6. It's very, very close. It's a really close one thing. I mean, I'm even looking at the goal difference, Ben, to be honest with you, in terms of how that's going to decide it. And I do really like your points per game metrics. I think it's a really good way of demonstrating how close these things are. I mean, look at it this way. You know when we were all chatting on T-Lop, I think it was probably 5 episodes of T-Lop ago, we're talking about a concern over Paul Warne's job. Look where they are now. That's just a prime example number 1 of how changeable League One is. So bring on the next half of the season.
Absolutely. And get your questions in for the last 5 minutes of the show. Again, exhausted. Long night last night.
Mate. Done really well.
Honestly, in the last week, we've had a video awardee. We've had
very good, by the way. Go and see it if you haven't seen it already.
Christmas Eve special. We've had Boxing Day football. We had a stream on the 28th. Video yesterday. Stream today. Lee John's video today. We're back on New Year's Day, and we're here on the 3rd of January as well with Jakey. Jake, he is back. So all these people, 135, we've not seen that with Jake all season. When we get back to Jake, we'll be back down with 30s again, won't we? There's more people in this stream than there was in the Fleetwood away end at Portsmouth last week as well. On the cards. Derby were 12 points behind Portsmouth. Remember last year when Wendy were like 11 points in front of who was it? Ipswich. No, yeah, Ipswich. And Ipswich caught them up. Just a couple of defeats and a couple of draws, and all things get a little bit tight. May or Bishop, Alfie May. Alfie May, 100%. No. I'd rather have Alfie May in my team. And
Ben.
Colby Bishop is the best hold-up striker in the division for me. He can glue it to his feet. I really like him. But Alfie May is my type of striker. I like strikers that running behind, getting pockets, score goals, effective at the other end. He's unbelievable, mate. I know Colby is great, but Alfie May is... Put them up front together, and that's 50, 60 goals between them. Wow.
Can you name me a more dependable striker from the penalty spot in League One than Colby Bishop?
Not a striker, Cameron Brannigan.
Yeah, that's why I said striker.
No,
you can't.
We're not all like, we're the only team in League One, by the way. And it would help if we got the ball into the box that's not got a penalty this season. We've not got a penalty since New Year's Day last year. Who did we play? Shrewsbury away. Who did we play on Monday, on New Year's Day? Shrewsbury away.
Well, I mean, it's got penalty written all over it then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. This should be a channel, that, shouldn't it? You reckon Donny will get back to League One with Grant McCann? I think that Donny, like Fleetwood, a lot of things need to change upstairs before anything happens on the pitch. Appleton in or out?
Shake it all about. That'd be my answer.
I think that he needs January. I really do. And I think January is huge for so many football clubs.
When you lose an away end, you're struggling, aren't you? That would be my answer to that.
What I'll say, right, I'll go through these now, right, and you can agree. We'll come to what you think.
What needs January or doesn't need January?
Which team's fans would be happy where they are? If you said to them at the start of the year, you'll be here on this amount of games, this position, this is what the mood will be like. No one in the bottom four would be happy, right? Exeter, I think, would be... I don't think they'd be happy, but I think they'd be okay. Wycombe would be fuming. I think Wigan would have taken it because 8 points are great, but I think they know they can do a little bit better. So I think Wigan would be content. Shrewsbury, if you said 17th to them, 7 points off the bottom four, good. You only scored, you're crap to watch. You've scored 14 goals. You're on tedious time. They wouldn't have taken that. But points tally, they would have. Burton would have. Cambridge would be happy. Port Vale would be happy. Leyton O would be happy.
Buzzing.
Yeah. Charlton would be, I don't think, be quite happy. Lincoln, I don't think they'll be quite, I think there'll be frustrations because I think they can kick on this year. Northampton, I think would be the most over the moon, really, by the top teams. Bristol Rovers, I think that they would be happy to be in a situation between 9 points off with 2 games in hand.
With the view to push on, massively.
Yeah. Blackpool, I don't think will be too happy, Tom.
No, we always said 5th for Blackpool, didn't we? I think that's more their kind of ballpark and then look to push for automatics.
Barnsley, 7th, games in hand, will be in the playoffs, otherwise on a decent run away.
Given the summer for Barnsley and given everything, they had the FA situation with the ineligible player fielding, all that kind of thing. It's all gone a bit haywire, isn't it, there? So, yeah.
I think Oxford would be okay. I think 6th for the playoffs after the season. Stevenage, delighted.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Derby.
Getting there.
I think Derby would have been a bit like, oh, okay.
What?
But also you win 9, you'd be delighted.
Off top.
You need context. If I just said to Derby, 46 points from 23, would you take 2 points per game? Yeah. Would you be 4th? 2 points off top 2, 4 points off top. They'd be a bit frustrated, but I think they'd take it. Peterborough would be delighted. Bolton, I think, would be delighted. I think Portsmouth. Oh, we want 100 points from 24 games and anything else. Mourinho out.
It's a funny old fan base at times, isn't it? And I don't want to sound like I'm kind of going against my own, but crikey.
Would you have taken...
I tell you what.
Would you agree with anything I've just disagreed with?
I would absolutely bang on agree. I agree with all those. The one thing I do want to say before you get some questions in, did you watch Unai Emery after losing 3-2 to Man United at Old Trafford?
The way he reacted.
You know where he went, that's amazing, 39 points or whatever. I mean, I just feel like we need a little bit more of that. And yes, it's been, I suppose Villa are kind of, that's their one little drop, isn't it? And Pompey have been rubbish for a week and a half. So yeah, great. But as I said to you before we went on this stream, I don't know did I say it to you on the phone earlier or did I say it to you live? But if you'd offered, no, we said it, didn't we? How much percentage of Pompey fans would take being 2 points clear with 50 points coming into the 25th game? I think the vast majority would take it. I think you just need to widen your perspective on it all a little bit. But I'm not excusing poor performances. And actually, Ben, I do agree with Jakey. Performances have been masked by late winners.
Yeah.
Yes, you need to be like a Liverpool or Jurgen Klopp kind of side where you can get those late winners. You need to do an Arsenal at Luton where you win 4-3 and Declan Rice is giving it large. You need those moments because that's what teams going places have. But ultimately, you need to be backing that up with performances. And last thing I'll say, and this is no disrespect to you or Charlie watching if he's still here, or any Exeter fans that will be watching, but Portsmouth Football Club taking 2 points from 9 from Fleetwood, Bristol Rovers away, and then Exeter away is far from good enough and needs to change. Neil
Critchley in a bit of trouble. On a long-term deal there, I don't think he'll get sacked, but pressure is on him 100%.
It's a world away from winning 4-0 at Fratton Park not too long ago, isn't it?
I know. I mean, they've lost the last 3 away, and they've been winning games of football at home, playing all right, but away. Johnson, Clark, Harris to FTFC. It wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened. Jack Marriott left, Robertson left for Thieves, but all of a sudden then, I don't know. Good work, Bo. Thank you so much for the support. Again, please keep liking and subscribing, guys. That'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe to my good colleague, Tom, from 4-0, written all over it. Derby and Hove. But you've won your last, with context, you're 4th, but you're 2 points off top 2. You know what I mean? And you look at it, and, you're same points as Peterborough, game in hand, right? You've still got to play Bolton at home, right? You've still got to go to Fratton Park, right? You've still got to have Stevenage at home, right? You've gone to Oxford and won. It's realistically you can improve that situation, and I know 4th doesn't sound great, but you've got to look at the other. If I just said 4th to you, you wouldn't be happy. But if I told you the underlying things, I think you should be happy. I think Derby fans, come on, 8 wins and 1 draw. It's an unbelievable run. I'll be doing if we're doing 0-0 to Exeter, Ben. Do you think Wigan will get promoted? No. Christ. Tom, we want we want you on full time on here.
You can't afford me, I'm afraid. So you go.
You are a bit expensive, aren't you? Jake's easy. Jake's like Tom's a bit like Carl Robinson, just can't quite get it over the line. Jake's a bit like Stephen Craney, just there and can appoint from within.
I'm always in midweeks, so you'll have me for your midweeks.
Absolutely, and there we are. And my question for Tom: who would you like to sign in January?
Oh, I tell you what, George Edmondson wouldn't be half bad, would he, Ben?
No,
that was a little rumor. So that's
to you.
He has, yes. Well, there was a Chris Wise tweet. He's normally very dependable. He's not really a Pompey journalist. He's more BBC these days. But yeah, no, I think that's the one kind of rumor I've heard. And if you are looking at that kind of caliber, you know him full well from his time at Ipswich and how good he was for them in this division when they were down here. But he can't get a game in the Championship. Now, if that's the kind of level that Pompey are pitching their tent at in terms of transfers, to say, right, let's go for the players that have League One experience of getting out of this position, doing as well as they being one of the top performers in a real good promotion winning side, and probably one of the best promotion winning sides other than Plymouth in Ipswich that we've seen in quite some time in this division. He was, yeah. And if that's the kind of level that you're pitching at, and you're trying to think about some Championship talent that's not quite getting the game time they deserve, as a Regan Poole replacement, as a Sean Raggett replacement, I'm all for it. And I hope that one happens. But yeah, I mean that one, I don't want to take the mick with it, Ben, but I would really like a Phoenix Patterson type. I'm not saying it has to be him. No, I'm just saying like a tricky winger that can make things happen and stretch the pitch. It needs shoring up width-wise. Kamara's had to be sort of rotated because he's a little bit tired at the minute. I don't think Paddy had his best game, although he's set his standards incredibly high. And he came on and really changed the game against Rovers. So yeah, there's areas of improvement, definitely. One thing I would say about the transfer window is if you look at Ipswich last season, you remember how much they strengthened in January and went on and kicked on and did incredibly well. Pompey need to do a similar thing. If you have an underwhelming January transfer window, you can wave goodbye to your automatic promotion hopes that you built up over the course of the first half of the season.
100%. Teams of the season so far. For me, if I'm going to give you 3, I'll give you Stevenage. I will give you Portsmouth being top of the league and Bolton Wanderers being in the top 2. I think Derby have done well over the last 9 games. Bolton has set the standard over 23, but only a couple of points in front. So they will be my 3. However, manager of the year for me, if kept up, Darryl Clark by a shadow of a doubt. Paulsley could go and get 110 points. I'd still give it Darryl Clark.
Yep, I agree with that.
Okay. I thought you were going to disagree. Normally, I'm used to a ratty old guy going, no, Lincoln City, Mark Kennedy, Fowler, Teddy Bishop.
The 2 Ethans are just, amazing.
I love him. I love that.
I love him as well.
Go and give him a vote for Journalist of the Year. He's my man.
How has he flagged that, by the way? Bless him. He's amazing.
Oh, what have we done to him? Honestly, we absolutely adore Jake. So go and give Jake some love. Tell him we sent you. Great show again, guys. Still looking back. Portsmouth, Posh and Portsmouth for automatic, blah, blah, blah. Best 2 teams in the league so far. Go and have a lie down, Ben. Delusion seems to be kicking in. Charlie Adam. It is, son. It is going to be Charlie Adam. I know it. Derby County, 4 points off top with 0 spent. Yeah, wages, I think, will be a factor, but your Derby County, you could spend that. Again, Derby fans quite confident. Ragger's been all right recently, but he bullied Stockley, I tell you that now.
How long have I got to talk about Sean Raggett, Ben? Do you want it short and sweet?
Lewis Gibson, go on then.
So what we did initially before the Charlton 2-2 at Fratton Park is we chucked Sean Raggett in expecting him to play Regan Paul's game. Didn't change the shape, didn't change the tactics, whatever. Raggett was just treated as a like-for-like replacement. I think it was a little bit of a sort of a startle for him. Since then, we've kind of moulded him back into the tactics board a little bit. I think Messino's kind of realised that Raggett has a lot of strengths, but ultimately he's not Regan Paul. He's actually learned very quickly or has proven that he knows how to play it from the back. Wasn't great against Bristol Rovers, put in a pretty strong challenge, which I wasn't particularly happy about. And he was okay last night, wasn't a standout. I don't think he deserves the scapegoat kind of treatment that he's had from pockets of Pompey fans, not all, but pockets. Yeah, I think it is going to be all right. And I think maybe someone to give her a run for his money in January would be massively welcomed. There you go.
I think that's a perfect place to end. Tom, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Go and give yourself a little plug again before we do go.
Yes, come and join us on 4-0 written all over it for a half of League One and hopefully a little bit of Championship content coming soon if we sort ourselves out, as we've been, I nearly said a rude word there, rubbish for the last couple of weeks. Myself and Ben also do that League One podcast together as well. We are recording a new episode the other side of Newsday, aren't we? So that's going to be coming out really soon. So we're looking forward to doing that. That is available. The Christmas special is amazing. Go and listen to that if we do say so ourselves. I know it's not really Christmas anymore, but it's still worth a listen because I got a smashed up present. Ben got some stuff from the Pompey shop. Have you got your darts to hand, or
Where are they?
Where are your darts?
Oh no, I don't. I
always chucked them in the bin.
No, I haven't. I've still got them. It's because I was playing with them. I was 3-0 up, right? And I changed my darts because I lost 5 legs in a row. Changed them and then won 6-3. So
there we go. Keep them off. But yeah,
start well, fade again, bring something else in, get the job done.
There you go. Hopefully that's what we're going to do. Come and join us on 4-0 to see it all happen. There you go. And subscribe to Ben as well.
Oh, it's been a long day. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A big over and out from me. Tom, thanks for joining me as well.
You're welcome, mate.
Again, I'll be back on New Year's Day with a visit to Shrewsbury. Thank you to the 116 still in. We had 250 at one point. Thank you to the 78 people that liked. If you could like and subscribe on your way out of here, that'd be appreciated. I did upload a video on Lee Johnson leaving the football club and a Bolton as well yesterday. Plenty of content to get your teeth ripped into. Come on the cards. Come on League One. Until next time, see you later.
Play it, Pompey.
Blue. Kadame.